You compare, of course you compare your body to the person beside you at the gym, your salary to your college roommate's promotion post, your relationship to the couple on Instagram engaged in Paris, your parenting to the mum whose kids never whine, your vacation to a co-worker's Bali photos, your productivity to the influencer who claims to wake at 4 and run a marathon before breakfast, and the comparison engine runs automatic, a heartbeat you can't turn off. And here's the paradox that hollows out your chest. The more you compare, the worse you feel, and the worse you feel, the more you compare. A feedback loop designed by a demon who hates you, because comparison isn't a tool for improvement. Comparison is a drug that promises motivation but delivers despair. The data is merciless. A massive analysis of over 60 studies found that upward comparison, measuring yourself against someone you see as better off, reliably lowers self-esteem, spikes anxiety, and predicts depression. And Americans do more upward comparison than any culture on earth because we built a society on the myth that you can be anything, which means if you're not everything, it's your fault. So the American dream doesn't just encourage comparison, it demands it. How else will you know you're succeeding if you're not beating someone? The neuroscience is ancient. Your brain's reward system uses social rank as a primary input, a dopamine hit when you feel higher status, a cortisol spike when lower, and that worked in a tribe of 150. But now you're comparing against 330 million people, plus celebrities, plus influencers, plus the highlight reels of everyone you've ever met. Your brain drowning in status signals it was never built to process. And worst of all, you don't even compare accurately, because the comparison machine is a liar. You compare your messy behind the scenes to their curated highlight reel, your worst day to their best photo, your complicated real life to their filtered performance. And then you feel inadequate, so you curate harder and edit more and perform better, making someone else feel inadequate in turn. A pyramid scheme of misery. The American twist is that we've turned comparison into a virtue, keeping up with the Joneses, not a warning, but a business model. The entire advertising industry runs on comparison, social media runs on comparison, the college admissions arms race and the real estate bidding war and the wedding industrial complex and the fitness influencer economy all depend on you believing you are not enough, and the solution is to buy, post, or strive your way to the top of a ladder that has no top. But here's the reversal that only fully lands a second time you let it sink in. The happiest Americans are not the ones who win the comparison game. They're the ones who stop playing entirely, understanding that comparison is a trap that feels like a compass, and the only meaningful comparison isn't you versus them, it's you versus you. Yesterday, am I better than I was a year ago? Am I kinder, stronger, wiser? Have I moved toward my own values and not someone else's? Questions that don't need an Instagram feed, but a mirror and some courage. Let me tell you about Jessica, a lawyer in Boston who spent her evenings comparing herself to her law school classmates on LinkedIn, seeing promotions and partnerships and speaking gigs and book deals, feeling like a failure, working longer hours, updating her profile, networking harder, and nothing changed. So one night she deleted the app as an experiment, felt itchy the first week, lighter the second, and by the third week a thought stopped her cold. She had never actually wanted to be a partner. She wanted to be a good lawyer, a good friend, a good aunt. But she'd been so busy comparing that she never asked herself what she actually wanted, and she spent the next year quietly stepping off the partner track, taking a pay cut to work at a nonprofit, and discovering the only person she needed to compare herself to was the person she was becoming. Her friends thought she was crazy. She felt sane for the first time in a decade. The American cognitive paradox sits right here. We compare ourselves to everyone because we're told it's how we improve. But comparison doesn't improve you, it distracts you, it turns your attention outward when your growth is inward. And the only Americans who escape the comparison trap are the ones who learn to see the game for what it is, a machine that burns human souls for fuel. They don't stop noticing others. They stop measuring. They look at someone's success and feel joy instead of jealousy, at someone's failure and feel compassion instead of relief, understanding that life is not zero-sum contest, Your win does not make me lose. That's not how happiness works. Right now, your brain wants to argue that comparison is natural. You can't help it. Everyone does it, and you're right, but natural doesn't mean good. Cavemen threw feces too. You can evolve. The question from the beginning, why do Americans compare constantly yet feel worse, every time has an answer that only a second viewing fully unpacks. Comparison is a hunger that grows with feeding. The more you compare, the more you need to compare. The only way out is to stop asking, how do I measure up? And start asking, am I moving toward what matters to me? The first question is a trap. The second is a compass. So if something just shifted, if the impulse sparked to send this to the person who always asks, how much does he make, or what does her house look like? That's not about me. It's the recognition that the question itself is poison. And sharing that is the first step off the hamster wheel. Now go measure yourself against who you were a year ago. That's an order.